Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we are continuing our ranking of the Doctor Who seasons and series, from classic Doctor Who and modern Doctor Who, from worst to best. And today we are at lucky number 13. And in 13th place is season 5, Patrick Troughton's first appearance on this list with one of his full seasons. And that is a testament to just how strong the Troughton era is, that all of his seasons are, well, in the top 13. Season 5, I know, is a lot of times the most popular season. It's a lot of people's favorites. It is my least favorite. It's very formulaic in the sense that there's a lot of Base Under Siege going on. There's a lot of Monsters of the Week going on. It's still great. It does suffer from some missing episodes. Not as much as season 4, but more so than season 6. Season 5 has 40 episodes, 22 of which exist and 18 of which are missing, and 14 of those 18 have been animated. Most of the stories have been completed, at least with animation, that weren't complete already, with the exception of Wheel in Space. Let's talk about it. So, Tomb of the Cybermen. This is a good one. I do think it's a little overrated. I think The Invasion is a better story. I think The Moon Base is a better story. But those aren't complete, so I feel like Tomb gets more attention because it is complete. And it is a good story. I like Tomb of the Cybermen a lot at Troughton. You know, pretty much every single Troughton story I'm going to review, the words Troughton is amazing, it's going to be in there, because Troughton is always good in every story he's in. So much of his Doctor is just down to his physicality, what he does with his body language, what he does with his facial expressions, the inflections in his tones when he says things. He's very good at being the Columbo Doctor, at playing dumb and making people kind of not notice him, even though he's still standing right in front of them. You kind of just overlook him, you know, when you're looking around the room. He just kind of blends into the background, while secretly he's analyzing everything going on and figuring out what he needs to do. He's really clever at that, which is a very different approach from, say, the first Doctor, who very much wants you to know he's the smartest one in the room, and how dare you have the audacity to disagree with him. Troughton is perfectly fine with you thinking he's not too bright. He wants you to think that. And he does that even here in Tomb. Although his curiosity does kind of get him in trouble, because it's his curiosity that kind of leads to some of the problems with him trying to figure things out. Like when he presses the button to open the thing when nobody's looking, he presses it with his middle finger. Always interests me. Instead of his index finger, he presses it with his middle finger. But it has some iconic shots, like the Cybermen waking up, the whole tomb frosting and defrosting, that wonderful speech he has with Victoria. It is a good story, and it is one of the ones, since it is complete, when people are like, what's a good Troughton story to start with? A lot of times I'll say Tomb of the Cybermen, because it is a complete one, and it is a good one. The Abominable Snowmen, I have recently watched the animation of it. I've read the Target novel, I've watched the color animation, and I've watched the black and white animation. I do very much enjoy it. I like some of the changes the animation made. I think they're fitting, considering only one episode exists, although the surviving episode 2 is also fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I don't really have a preference between the color version and the black and white version. I think they're both really good. I enjoy both of them. It's kind of just whichever one I'm more in the mood for. If I'm watching the color version, I'll just watch all the animated episodes. If I'm watching the black and white version, I'll watch it with the surviving episode 2. It's a nice story. I enjoy Abominable Snowmen. Enemy of the World, I think, is a bit overrated. I think most of the stories in Series 5 are overrated to one degree or another. They're good, but they're still overrated. I do like it. Troughton is great in the dual roles. And I like how he plays Salamander different than when he plays the Doctor impersonating Salamander. That's really small, little details like that are one of the reasons why I think Troughton's one of the best Doctors. He's just phenomenal in the role. Matter of fact, I think that's a pretty interesting idea of him trying to take control of the world through the seismic activity. That's pretty good. It's a good story, just a bit overrated. What all else is this season? I know Web of Fear is this season, which is also really good. The animated episode 3 is not animated very well, but it's just one episode. I can get through it. And the Telesnap reconstruction's fine if you prefer that. I do like Web of Fear, again, a little overrated, but I do prefer it to Abominable Snowmen. It's a great story to introduce Lethbridge Stewart with Nicholas Courtney. It has some nice horror imagery into it. I like them running around in the subway tunnels. It's hard to believe those subway tunnels are sets. I can see why it fooled people. Those are really well done sets. It's a great follow-up to Abominable Snowman, and it really does a good job of building atmosphere and tension. What else is this season? The Ice Warriors, this is probably the weakest one. From a story point of view, the weakest one is the Ice Warriors. The 2 animated episodes, I like that animation. They work fine, except for the Ice Warriors. The Ice Warriors look a little weird in the animation, but the rest of it looks fine. The story itself is just kind of plods along. I would have liked it better as a 4-parter. It's a little uninteresting. It does move at a glacier's pace, which seems very appropriate for the story, I guess, considering. But the cast are good in it. I really like not only Troutman and the TARDIS team in it, but the guy playing kind of the lead researcher, the one with the cane. He does a really good job. I really like him in it, too. So it has things I like. It's definitely watchable. It's definitely rewatchable. Then, of course, we have Fury from the Deep, which my only issue is the animation. I don't like the animation. I like the story. I think the story is phenomenal. If there's one missing story, one completely missing or almost completely missing story that they could find, I would probably want it to be Fury from the Deep, because the story is phenomenal. I love the idea. I would love to read like a novelization version of it. I think it'd be really good. The existing photos of it look good. The few scenes we have of it look really good. I enjoyed the recon of it. I have actually watched the recon of it. I know Alice, one of my patrons, she likes when I watch recons. So I did the recon of that for her one time. And I really enjoyed it more than the animation. That's its only problem, is that Big Finish Creative, I guess being their first real attempt, there's a lot of issues with the animation for Fury from the Deep, which they got better at. The Galaxy 4 animation I enjoy. The Abominable Snowman animation, which uses a similar style, I actually surprisingly really enjoyed. It's just Fury from the Deep, they just really had trouble cutting their teeth on what they were doing with the animations, and it really shows. I'm sure a lot of that was a time crunch and budget, but the end result is severely lacking. And then Wheel in Space, which of course is the only story from the season that hasn't been animated yet, sadly. But 2 out of its 3 episodes exist, including the final episode, because episodes 3 and 6 exist. I love when a final episode exists in a serial that's not complete, so that's extremely exciting for me. It's nice that I can end the story watching the actual episode. So basically I'd have to watch 2 recons, and then halfway through with episode 3 I get an episode I can actually watch 2 more recons, and then I've got the final episode. I think I can tolerate that, especially since I hear Wheel in Space is kind of the weakest of the 60s Cybermen stories anyway. It kind of plods, I hear. I haven't watched it, but that's what I hear. So yeah, that's kind of where season 5 falls, for me, at least from what I've seen. Still good. Again, that's why it's ranked this high. A lot of that is just down to Troughton and down to Fraser Hines' Jamie. Jamie's one of my favorite companions. I'm not a big fan of Victoria, really. But I like Jamie. And Jamie and the second Doctor and Jamie together are just so good. So good. They're phenomenal. It's easy to tell that Patrick and Fraser really were good friends in real life and got on well. So, yeah, that's where season 5 falls. I want to know what you think of season 5 and these stories. So comment down below and let me know. Other things to do, click the like button and the subscribe button. And the bell for notifications so you never miss out on another video. Plus all the stuff down in the description to do. Check out the Patreon. There's a link to that down there. A link to the Amazon wish list. The P.O. box is down there if there's anything you would like to send me to look at. And I want to give a shout out not only to Stephen Crane, one of my top tier patrons, because I appreciate his continued support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. I want to give a shout out to Paul Bailey, because he's the one who I noticed who came up with the idea of ranking these pretty much one season a week, a video for each season, so it really gives you time to talk about each one. That's a phenomenal idea. He's doing his own ranking list as well, if you haven't checked that out. I want to give him credit for that. And most importantly, I want to say thank you for watching.